January 1946. All the Time in the World by Charles King. Bored, eh? I passed my hand through the whirling, leaping flames and nodded miserably. How long have you been here? He knew as well as I did. He was just teasing me. His great yellow eyes had a trace of unmistakable amusement. To show that I wasn't nettled, I fondled one of the glowing coals and watched the steam from unpatterned traceries through my fingers. 3,000 years. And 1 month, 14 days and 37 minutes, he gravely amended. I nodded again. Don't we treat you right? His back was to me, but I knew that he was watching me closely, just the same. Yes, great prince. You've received steady promotions, haven't you? Yes, great prince. I kept my voice as steady as I could. It was not easy. I have seen what happened to others who didn't respond correctly to his questionings. Even I, much used to certain sights, have felt dazed and faint at such times. He turned suddenly and let his hot eyes bathe me with lurid light. I knew what he was doing, and I was terribly, unaccountably frightened. Unaccountably, because I had not lied to him. Still, it is horribly unpleasant to know that your mind is being stripped clean and bare without you ever, without your having the slightest chance of evading or resisting the process. Not that I would try to resist. I have seen the mottled remains of those who did. And my mind swept back to that moment, thousands of years ago, when I had first come here. I had led a hard life and a vicious life, but it had been quite successful from the viewpoint of financial success. Many men, and women too, had fallen quick victims to my dagger or strangler's cord. I suppose the only good thing that I can claim is that I never attacked the poor. There was no reason to, of course. They had nothing worth stealing. I had finally been caught, as I knew I someday would. I lived 3 days through the torture. I had never known that pain could be so exquisite. When they were finished with me, I hadn't a whole bone in my body. I was just a mass of bloated flesh that could be formed into different shapes by kneading with the fingers. I couldn't scream curses at them because they had sewn my lips together. But before I died, I made a mental vow. If there was a hereafter, and if we met, well, we did. But I was running ahead of myself. Again, my mind went back to the time when I had first opened my eyes. My first reaction had been one of surprise, that I was still alive, but then I saw that I wasn't. Not alive, at any rate, as you would know it. Anyway, amazingly enough, I was standing on my feet. The feet, you will remember, which I had last seen as shapeless blobs of flaccid flesh. Name, please. And when I had answered, it came to me that my lips were no longer sewn together. My questioner had looked up at me with quickened interest on hearing my name. His tail had dropped the writing implement it had been using, and its twitching motion had plainly beckoned me to follow. We had passed through many doors and along many twisting lanes. The walls gleamed redly, then seemed to move, but then I saw that it was only the red fluid on them that moved. It seemed to come from somewhere above, and I hadn't understood until a sudden burst of screams tapered off to strangled sobbing someplace above me. I had realized then what the red fluid was, and where I was. This is as far as I go, my guide had grunted. This is as far as I go. my guide had grunted. He must have felt my amazement as I stared at the wall of twisting, flaring flame. Don't worry about that stuff. Now, you're under his protection because he's expecting you. Go in and good luck. I had tried to hold back, but it hadn't worked. Not even for an instant. There I was, moving through the dancing, flickering flames, moving toward the great figure, indolently sprawled on an ebony throne. He had been caressing something in his huge hands. He had moved it this way and that, bending it, twisting it, occasionally rolling it into a ball. Heavy shadows had prevented me from seeing what it was, at first. But as I had drawn nearer, the thin tortured screaming from the object crumpled in his fingers corroborated what my eyes tried to reject. I had led a life replete with viciousness. There was nothing I had not done or attempted, but I confess I averted my eyes from what he was doing to that human body. Bloody hell. Literally. He chuckled, and the sound was like rolling thunder. Now don't tell me you're squeamish. I'm sorry if I've offended you, great prince. Yellow, enormous, the slanted orbs regarded me a moment. Then, you've been given quite a privilege, you know. Thank you, great prince. He tossed the mangled body into a corner where it continued to scream thinly. Your earthly dossier proves that you have served me constantly and well. I am pleased with you. His shining jet hooves scratched against the floor as he rose from the throne. Come along, I'll show you your assignment. Interminable corridors had been left behind when we finally arrived in a small room. Hooks were fastened to the white-hot walls, and on each hook was impaled a human body. There were men and women both, and a scattering of children. All faces were a blend of two expressions, evil and suffering. A taloned finger flicked towards the table in the room's center. You'll find something in... This is not a very nice story, is it, Teddy? You'll find some amusing instruments there. If you can devise any new ones, the shops will be only too happy to make them for you. The cleft hooves have clicked across the floor, and I was alone. I had been good at my work from the start. A natural aptitude, I imagine. Anyway, the volume of shrieks, howls, groans, and wailings I'd produced in my small working room must have pleased him. It wasn't long before I'd been promoted to a larger place. Of course, I really did my best work when my earthly torturers were, in time, consigned to me. They met again. It was very enjoyable because I had limitless time in which to improvise. They had died once and couldn't die again, you see. A short bark of laughter caught me up abruptly. He had been following my train of thoughts, and apparently he was entertained. So you're bored? Well, you're a good man. One of the best, and you deserve a vacation. I fell upon my knees in gratitude, but his sinuous tail jerked me erect. No, he smiled. Let us thrash this out as man to man, eh? He certainly was in good humor. What would you like to do? Anything, great Anything, great prince, in which I can serve you. I meant it, and he knew it. Very well. There is something which can afford both of us pleasure. However, it is dangerous for you. I am ready, great prince. His vast wings... Just one of those fucking days. His vast wings... flapped idly. I will send you to Earth for a while. You, without saying, will know what to do there. Humbly I answered, spend my time and... efforts, great prince, recruiting subjects for your domain. You haven't asked me about the danger. No peril is too great to be borne in your service, great prince. He smiled, and his red teeth shone brightly. Heed me, loyal one. On earth you will be seen as all others, unless you wish to change form. You will have that power, and many others. But my power, large as it is circumscribed. It is the immutable way of things, that there is no changing it. If I repeat myself, it is only because you, loyal one, must be aware of the hazard which I can neither prevent nor remedy. As I have told you, your powers will be many, and yours to command. Only be aware, your bloodstream. You will be immortal, impervious completely to destruction no matter what befalls. But the fluid in you must not be contaminated. Back in the enormous vaulted chamber of which I had become supervisor, I formulated my plans. I was not going to do anything that would cause undue comment at the beginning. Only fools would do that. Once I had seen my way around and placed circumstances, I'd had plenty of time for extemporizing. One thing he had repeated to me clung tenaciously. I would be indestructible, but I would show signs of hurt. Nothing could disturb my immortality. Only that outwardly, for a space, I would have all the signs and symptoms of human weakness of body, if it were necessary. Undoubtedly, this was necessary, if only to avoid questions and suspicion. Everything resolved itself, and I was happy. My plan of action was set. I felt so good that I picked up an instrument of my own design and went over to the wall. My assistants were surprised because this was no longer part of my work. I outlined persecutions and savageries, even improvised on them occasionally, but left the physical action to my crew. This, however, was a great moment and deserved some special attention. My assistants naturally fawned as I worked upon the shrieking flesh that swayed before me. Frankly, though, I fully believed that I outdid myself. It is no idle boast to say that when I got through, you could not identify the tattered remnants that littered the smoking floor, except, naturally, that they kept screaming. Okay, one more bit, and then we'll finish up for today. Now, Blakely Julius was a very sick man. He was going to die unless, as his doctor said, he acquired the will to live. Blakely Julius didn't want to live, and I could understand that. For some time now, I had him marked in my ledger as a future assistant. Yes, he was that bad. That is, as bad as you would call it. His actions had always proven that he would be wonderful administrative material for the great prince. However, his conscience had tricked him and caught him up with him. He wanted to die, that was all right, but not if he died his way. We'd get him anyway, but it would simply mean that we'd have to receive him as a victim. No. He was too good material to lose. So, before his conscience could betray him, he would die in our way. It would serve the double purpose of serving the great prince well, and give me the chance of entering the world of men unobtrusively. At the same moment that his soul was whisked by me down to the great prince, Blake Julius opened his eyes. I was... Blakely Julius? What? Oh, Blakely. His name is Blakely. Blakely Julius. Darling, darling, speak to me. Say you're going to live. I looked up at the fat, heavily made-up face that hovered above me with such saccharine solicitousness. So this is my wife, I thought. A sharp, quick probing into her mind told me all that I had to know. She would make a fine victim for one of my assistants to work upon. Darling, say something, please. And her nasty, brutish little mind said, "Oh, why doesn't he die? What keeps the fool hanging on so? It's just his meanness and stubbornness. And here I have such wonderful plans for his insurance money. Die, you fool, die, die!" And the fat, over-rouged face of her said, "Darling, speak, say something." "Hello, honey, I feel much better." Her mind, "No, he can't do this to me." "He just can't. He's going to die. He must die." Her voice, "How wonderful. Oh, darling, I'm so happy." The doctor bent over me. "That's fine, Mr. Julius. You've done what I could not do for you. You want to live again, and you certainly shall." I smiled. I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. So that was part 1 of All the Time in the World. I might film more later. Probably not. I might film more tomorrow. Probably.